Love it. Live streaming today.
Okay, we're just going 1, 2. We've got a.
Yep,
There it is. We're in. Dun, 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 dun. But there's a black screen. Oh, there it is.
There's never a black screen. I've got it all organised. So, you know, have to come a little bit closer, my love.
Do I?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, hello, everybody. Here we are with another live YouTube. And wherever you are, come and join us. And there's a chat there. And we will be making our way through to 1,000 subscribers very soon if we just keep doing what we're doing, because we're wanting to do more of our work here, obviously, as we've
Absolutely.
said, less on Facebook and more on YouTube. Facebook pulls the stuff down 30 days, sometimes less. And this is a better forum for us at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
That in the background is the dogs eating their food, and we're putting them inside to eat tonight because it's cold outside, and also because they will bang and knock on the doors later while we're in the middle of our live stream here. Okay, so here we are. So we're going to be doing some reset conversation, and a lot of people, you know, have asked about that. Some on different forums that we're a part of, and some just casually in conversation we talk about resets and what does that really mean. It's one of those words that just keeps banding around at the moment. Financial reset, this reset, that reset, and we do know there's a lot going on.
Absolutely. And I'm just putting up the share link so people can click on that if they want to come on in and just be part of the live chat. Okay. So boom, there we go.
So where's the record button here?
It started recording anyway.
Did it automatically?
It's there. It's unhighlighted. If you look there, darling, see. Gracie, cool. Stop.
Oh, okay, that's good.
All right. So as you can see, we're really professionally prepared. But you know, it's always that way when
I am. Look at my notes. This is the stuff that Cifehtr and I and Lou were talking about the other day, and from that I said we need to be doing something live about the reset. So just if you're in the chat, say g'day. This is how you do it. It's really easy. Yep. That's us. Big pink finger, big pink hand. There we are.
All right, so there you go.
That's great. Well, we've got 6 people watching. That's great. That's your family and my family.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. We don't talk to our families anymore. It must be somebody else.
Oh dear. All right, so I'm just going to go back into YouTube so that I can see if there's any messages.
So it's a big topic, resets, and you know, I've been one of the blogs that Cifehtr wrote a couple of years ago or more was, are you going to accept this reset? And a lot of what was written in that sort of defies in some ways what we're going to be talking about today. It's great to catch you too. Imagine Healing. That's great. What a great handle that is. Lovely to see you here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, here we are live. We even had a shower and brushed our hair for this. Got off the tractors and came on in. So if you've got any questions around resets or any comments, and let us know. Hello, Belinda. Nice to see you too. Wet and windy Perth.
Right.
Is it wet and windy over here? It's actually, yeah, I can imagine it would be. You've got that whole coastal thing happening on the west side, haven't you? I remember dropping into Perth. When was it? We came back. It was 2017, my first and only time in Perth. It was freezing. I really enjoyed looking around the city and doing some of the touristy things. We had a great couple of days there on our stopover, but it was really cold. I was really surprised how cold it was. So let us know if you can hear us all right. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
That's always helpful.
I'm only just trying to get closer to my wife, so it's all right.
Hello, Adriano. Nice to see you here too. Lovely to have you all here, you guys. Thank you very much for joining us on this Reset Events and Spiritual Evolution special, which could end up becoming a bit of a series. G'day, Linda. Nice to see you here too. From the Coromandel, I bet it's beautiful up, brisk but beautiful in the Coromandel at the moment. Any snow on the mountains around, Linda?
All right. We've got dogs and everybody going around, so
yeah. So I don't know if the dogs are that au fait with resets, but if they've got anything to add, we'll bring them in the conversation.
Absolutely.
At the moment, I'd rather they just sit out there.
All right. Shall we go? Shall we take a start? And I'll bring Cifehtr through. And
yeah.
So, guys, what I'd like to say at the moment is like, if there are any questions, or if there's anything that with what we're doing and sharing today, if you've got any questions about it, or you'd like to say something, just slap it in the chat, because what we'll do is, if there's any relevant questions, Heather will ask Cifehtr, and we'll sort of get that thing going, and we'll take it from there. But
we'll
participate in the conversation.
You're part of the community.
Absolutely.
And you're an important part of the community, each and every one of you, and all of you who are watching later as well.
Yeah.
So even later on, if you're doing a replay, #replay, then just please, if you've got questions or comments, just put them in. It really helps getting the conversation going, because, as you know, we are in extraordinary times.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary. Like, I remember the 2011, 2012, the shift sort of thing, and there was this whole lot of thing about the Mayan calendar, which never really came about because the Mayan calendar was misinterpreted. However, there were some subtle shifts and changes with consciousness that came at that time, regardless of what we think. A lot of people made a lot of money out of those books, though, the 2012 The End Times, and a lot of them were proved wrong as well. So where are we now? 13 years later. Okay, 12, 13 years later, we are in extraordinary times. And compared to back then in 2011, 2012, this is so much more intense, so much more multi-layered, and quite confusing at times too. And probably one of the most important times in our life to be really in our mastery. And Lou and I have talked about that a lot lately with our soul journey and other videos. And we've had to do a lot of cleaning out and clearing out, particularly over the last few weeks, and hasn't always been easy, but we want to be able to walk through the next doorway or portal with less baggage as possible.
Absolutely. And sometimes, when people turn around and talk about, having to clear out stuff and all the rest of it, it can be a little intimidating, because you suddenly look at everything that is going on, and you go, wow, do I have time to do this? The thing is, do we have time not to do it? Because we, to move through from this vibration into the next vibration, we need to clear any hanging on attachments, anything that is like just bugging the heck out of us. We need to actually be able to clear it, release it, and become a new resonant, a new vibration, a new energy frequency, I suppose, is the best way to put that. Yeah,
raising our consciousness.
And she always has a succinct way of saying it.
Well, look, I've heard other people say it too, and I don't want to just banter off raising your consciousness, love and light, because those of you that know us, we are not the love and light banter community. We are not part of that rotational, spouting off lovely phrases and stuff like that. We've done the hard graft, and we still do, before enlightenment. Fetch wood, carry water. After enlightenment, fetch wood, carry water, and dig up shit. It's ongoing, but we can be in joy, or we can have a good time while we're doing it, maybe.
Absolutely.
So here we are, Reset Events and Spiritual Evolution. Welcome. So what do the reset events and spiritual evolution have to do with each other? Just think about these phrases and sentences as we go. And if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in there in the chat. So Lou's going to bring through our friend Cifehtr, who's from the Saint Germain, Adamus Saint Germain lineage. And if you don't know his brilliant book, I'll quickly show you. No, it doesn't matter. It's over there. Is The Mystery Teachings of Self-Mastery. And you can go to Lou's website if you want your own autographed copy of that. Okay, types of resets. Types of reset events. So, the word reset's been bandied around, particularly since the COVID era, and what I've come to realise that there's different types of resets. There's a soft reset, there's a medium reset, and there's a hard reset. So, what does that really mean? So I might ask Cifehtr to clarify that.
Well, let me bring him in, and maybe if there are any thoughts on that from our guests online, that maybe they can sort of like put their thoughts into the chat and get this rolling. I'll bring Cifehtr through.
Okay. So soft resets, subtle reality shifts. I'll just read a couple of points out to you. Alterations to historical records. We've seen this, haven't we? Laws and societal norms. So alterations to historical records, laws, and societal norms. Another example includes the Mandela effect and feelings of deja vu. That they can be considered types of soft resets. Might have to move those bowls. The dogs have been very naughty and noisy in the background, aren't they?
I think they're telling you that you have not fed them enough today. They are missing their meat, the beautiful soup that Louise makes them, and a whole bunch of other things.
All because we've been setting up for this.
Absolutely.
They'll get it after this.
So, Greetings, my friends. I am Cifehtr. It is a pleasure to be here with you in this particular forum. And so, yes, let us go in and talk about what we are doing and how this affects us. So we're going through the types of resets, right? And Heather and I had a very long conversation probably about 4 or 5 days ago. And what we did is we covered the subject matter of the resets, and she was asking me some questions. Now, when we look at the resets, we have to realize that the world that we are visiting, the world that we are in at this moment, has had multiple resets since day dot to present moment. In fact, the last one that should have affected our world to the degree that it did for a major reset, or I wouldn't say major as in big time event, but it would have been what I would call a minor major. So it would be in between a minor reset, which is just soft things like maybe some flooding. And I know in the minds of man, flooding is a major thing. It can cause a major deficit and can also create much trauma. But in the event of how we look at resets, it is minor. Okay, so when we go back to around 1902, there should have been an event that shook the earth, shook the world, to reset the vibration and the awareness back into a consciousness where they were able to still continue using a lot of the technical equipment that they had built at that particular time. Unfortunately, what happened is much of what they had was diluted, and there were mud floods, there were many, many different things that set everything back. Now, if we go back even further into the 1800s, there were changes even there that set the what I will call the industrialization of that period backwards. All right. So this is why you have the Industrial Revolution in the 1900s, where all of a sudden you have children in different places and factories and all the rest of it. And there's all these theories that have been brought up. And this is because we have events which wipe out certain amounts of population. It is wipes out land, etc., etc. Do you want to check this? There's just a warning here that I'm just bringing Heather's attention to for the thing. So, but what we need to do is realize that in all of these resets, a soft reset is, as I say, something where there's like a major flooding or something that could be a flooding, a tsunami, an earthquake, a fire.
I thought that was a medium reset.
I'm talking about the minor ones that come in,
right.
and then and that's like small events that happen sporadically.
So we've had those consistently.
Yes.
Like what's some examples in our recent?
Well, you've had all these like these strange burnings of where houses and buildings, etc., are decimated.
Lahuna.
Yep. But your trees, and in some cases cars, different sort of structures are left alone. But your other things are totally destroyed. Why is this happening? It's because this reset is trying to level the ground. They want something else in that place. So that's what I would call a soft. A minor or a medium one would be something where there is a lot of damage, where I would say we could go into an actual country, and we're not just talking maybe a small country. It would affect a large proportion of that particular country. It would be where there is much damage. So if we were to look at, say, let's just take New Zealand, where they had the Christchurch earthquake, that affected a small region in, if I can put it this way, in comparison to the earthquake that happened to Japan, which shifted Japan 30 centimeters or half a meter, and it affected many, many other nations. All right. So that would be a semi-major, not a soft, but a medium reset. All right. So I've used these different terms with different things. So I'm just trying to make sure I keep everything in the correct terminology. A hard reset or a major reset is when there is desolation beyond desolation. Now, many of you have been what I would call followers of Cifehtr, and you listen to these different teachings where you've got different events that have happened. And I would say that would be an extreme case in your current time period of a total or a very hard reset, where they destroyed nations. They destroyed much of what was available to take you backwards into a dumbed down society, that you would be able to be controlled, that you would be able to be in a place of manipulation, of shock, of trauma, so that they could send in their minions to bring in a alternative point of view, an alternative healing, an alternative way of living, etc., etc. So that is a very, very broad way of doing it. So is there anything that you would like to on here which you would like to?
Well, so you've looked at the soft and the medium.
Yes.
Okay, so hard resets. A lot of people are sort of talking about the fact that we're heading for something major.
Yes.
And do you settle down, you guys?
Should I take them outside? I'll take them outside.
And someone outside. Someone outside, so the dogs are letting us know. So there's a lot of talk about, and a feeling also that something we're approaching is probably something more intense or something big. And I suspect that we're heading for a major reset, or a hard reset. Cifehtr says to us, or has said to me, look, it's a medium hard reset. It may not be as hard as what you think. And I'm going, well, can you clarify on that? You're going to come back and clarify on that?
Yes, I'm coming. I'm just
stoking
your fire so that it doesn't go out.
So what does a hard reset do? It destroys infrastructure, ecosystems, and resets the society.
As I was saying with Tartaria, yes, many of you look at Tartaria as an example of something going on, of something being hidden from you, technology, etc., etc. Now, if any of you have got my book, you will have seen that I reference in the book that I enjoyed walking. I could have used the technology that we had, which is, I suppose you could refer to it as your helium balloons, your blips, these different sort of technologies that use hydrogen or lighter than air gases. And we would travel, but it wasn't just these gases that we used. There were techniques that were put into place that would carry people up to about 100 or so at a time from one place to another very, very quickly. And the closest I can call it is like your hot air balloons, but think of it on steroids. These had their own propellers. They had, and it wasn't an aeroplane. It was just uniquely designed natural objects that would help you move from A to B, but they used ether, they used static electricity, and literally you would have poles with copper wire running parallel, and you would be in the middle of it, and the current with this would basically vibrate you from one point to another very safely. It was quite absolutely phenomenal at times. So when a reset happens, it wipes out the energy, it wipes out the memories, it wipes out the technology, it wipes out what's there. Because what is going to happen now, there will be two different types of resets, and I will get to that. But one reset is where it wipes everything out because they want to delete you. They want to delete your memory. They want to take everything back. And it is literally, as I said before, it destroys the infrastructure. It destroys the ecosystems. It resets society. It puts society back to, and I don't want to say Stone Age, because Stone Age never existed.
Well, I'm just going to let the dogs in.
Again.
And we're going to swap chairs.
All right.
And you can stay over the side. So if I have to come and go,
right.
then that's fine.
All right.
There's your water. So grab a seat and keep going on your roll there.
All right. So if we can agree that your current history of what you've been taught, where there is, you have your Stone Age and your Cro-Magnon and you have this and that and all the rest of it. Yes, you have evidence of Flint's arrows. You have this, you have that. Now, I'm going to put it to you this way. If you come from a society that has been completely wiped out, where you would have had today, you would have had matches to start a fire. If you had today, you have a vehicle to drive you from A to B. If you have a knife, a sharpener, you have this, you have that. But society is totally wiped out. Your societal norms are removed from you due to an event that has completely wiped out, shall we say, a third of the population of the world. Yes, and everything is in complete and utter array. And so you now have to learn what works for making a fire, for sharpening a knife. And so you will go through a process of discovery. And unfortunately, you will return to the basic of basics, which is what stone can I use? Because there's nothing else. I have to find flint. I have to find steel. I have to find something that I can create a spark with so I can get a fire. And this isn't because you're stupid or you are unintelligent. It's because everything that you had has been removed from you due to electricity no longer being available, manufacturing going down, but you are still there. You could probably still have your house because your house may have not been hit or shaken in the earthquakes or flooded or whatever, but so you may still have places to live, but everything else that you're used to, fuel, purchasing from the supermarket, small things like matches and batteries, etc., are not available. So you have to learn how to reuse them, which is why I said to Heather, I said, you may not want to purchase these books because it could just be, oh, somebody's just trying to make a fast buck. But if you know someone who has purchased these, how to survive in the post wars lifetime, how to survive like your parents did, etc., your grandparents, your great grandparents, I would advise you not to pass those up if the opportunity arises to read, to take notes, to copy, to purchase, because you may not need them now, but you may need them for your children and your children's children.
So I'm going to ask the hard questions.
Yes.
When's the next medium to hard reset expected, and why? And what areas may it affect? And what do we need to be doing besides, obviously, seeds and learning about herbs and gardening and stuff like that in preparation? Or there are some of us that are going to be none affected at all. I mean, what's this going to look like?
All right. Well, some of you, I'm going to say this, some of you are of the age where you may have the ability to pass over before this event happens. And so it will not affect you. But there are those that will be of an age where this will affect them. And if we take the science and we take the mathematical route, then it is gauged to be the next event will be in around about 2045, 2046, somewhere around about there. But I will say more broadly that it is between 2040 and 2049. And the reason I give it a decade is because whilst it is slap bang in the middle by other people who have done mathematical algorithms, and they're very, very accurate with what they do. And so I would probably put money on the nose with that one, that it would be in 2045. However, I know what I know what mankind is like when they get a bee in their bonnet and they get aware of something consciously, and they get aware of something that could potentially happen, and they start working with energy, they start working with the universe, they start working with the divine, and they shift and they change things, not because they're fearful, but because they go, is this for our highest good? Is this really what is needed for us now? Or can it be put off? Can it be diluted? Can it be minimized? And when they are in this creative mode, when they're in this creative place with the divine creator, things can happen. So I would say that definitely in that decade of 2040 to 2049, there will be an event, a returning of what they call the phoenix, or Nibiru, or the star in the skies and the heavens. Yes. In fact, the star was also noted, or the planet in the heavens was also noticed and recorded in the Bible. All right. And they use it in the teaching of the Christ child. Yes. They also talk of the events that happened in his death, the Christ child's death, and 33 years later. And so when you consider that certain things were noted in a biblical historical book, which, and we must look at it, is that it is a story of fantasy, but it's also got truths written in it, and it's got much hidden information. So what the authors of this book have done is they have taken the book and they've manipulated it. They've changed a few things, but they have to put in certain events that happen in the algorithm and the pattern and the geological history of this plane, because if they don't, then they're lying, basically, and they can be caught out for that. So if you go back and if you know the Bible, it'll talk about when the one called Christ was crucified, the sky darkened, the earth trembled, the stones split in two. There was quite a large effect that happened, or event that happened, of an earthquake type rating that doesn't normally happen. So you have the darkening of the skies, that would be an eclipse. You have an earthquake, the trembling of the earth. You have the place where the body was buried being split in two by a great rumbling. And so what you have to see is that these events happened and can be historically traced back by those who know how to look at earth events, not historical events of what people say and do, but the geological patterns of this realm. Yes. Now, when we go into these different events, we see things happen. People are frightened. They have fear. And what a perfect boiling pot to go to and say, I can help you. Come with me, my dear. All you need to do is agree that I have the answers. Now, what happens when you get one who is scared and one who does not know what to do because of everything that's going on around them? They are likely to go, oh, yes, I need help, because they are in a state of shock. They're in a state of trauma.
Can I just say, it sounds like, hello, I'm here to help you. I'm from the government.
Absolutely. So, is there anything from what I have said that those of the dear ones listening to this may want to question or put a comment up?
Don't be afraid to comment or question, guys.
I will never be offended.
This is what our community's for. It's, we've been doing a lot of Facebook stuff. We want to set it up here more on YouTube, obviously. Just, fire away, get into some conversations, and some of you might even know each other on the chat here too. So I suppose I have a question, and it's like, okay, so we're talking about resets, and we're talking about resets, and we're talking about resets, and we're talking about resets. So some of them seem to be completely manipulated, and others seem to be something else. So what are you indicating about this medium to hard reset coming up? Is that a wonderful, let me finish, a wonderful God-led, creator-led reset, or is it manipulated, or is it a bit of both, and what's it going to look like?
All right. So this is, okay, so when the hard resets come in, hello, Lynn. This is potentially virtually every hard reset is when there is a desolation. It is where infrastructure, ecosystems, society is completely wiped out. That sounds harsh, but it is planned, and it is planned by the divine. Now we can go, oh my goodness gracious me, no, can't be.
And the reason is?
And the reason is we all know about, no, actually I have to pause and think about how I'm going to say the next part.
So we just end it there, and you can come back for the next session.
So what happens is we are very aware that there are entities, there are outside influences that are affecting the outcomes of various things in our realm. Yes, we call them the formless ones. Now these formless ones have come through from the third realm, and they have observed the Lyrans, the Palladians, the Octurans, the Syrians, every species that you can think of. They have observed, they have manipulated, even the Orions, the Zeta. They have gone through every single living being that has been created, that has been given life by the great divine and the splitting of the oversouls. Life has come from that 12-point separation and worked its way down. And unfortunately, in that separation we had, and I say unfortunately, but it's also, we have to look at it as fortunate, we have the formless ones being created by one who created out of fear, one who created out of sadness, out of despondency, and anger. Now, these formless ones have gone through multiple dimensions, multiple timelines. They have seen many, many various things that they have learnt, they have absorbed, they have learnt how to enter into a physical body by manipulation, by using telepathic means to manipulate the mind to get what they want. They use deception to entreat and to seduce the host. Let us just call it that, the host, by saying, if you give us access, you can have long life, you can have eternal life, you'll never die. Doesn't matter how many times the body just gives up, you will reincarnate. Or there may be a system that the body actually doesn't die. They regenerate it and regenerate it time after time after time after time. Now, I know that body regeneration can be done because I did it as Saint Germain in my timeline. I do not recommend it. It is the way I did it was very painful. It was I could only maintain a period of anywhere between 40 to 45 years maximum before I had to redo the whole process, and that, believe me, was the most uncomfortable thing that I have ever done. So, however, the formless ones have, as I said, they've gone through timelines, they've gone through cultures and species of star seeds, etc., and they have absorbed technology, they have absorbed knowledge. They know about AI and augmentation way before mankind ever realized that such a word existed.
And I just want to say, I just want to plug Lou's books here. This stuff, this information, can we see it, is in the books. We've got a bit of a lag here, but that's okay. So this information is in Lou's books, the Lyran books, and you can get it at reiss-james.com. I popped it in the chat. And so Lou wrote the first one, started writing it in 2018, I think. 2017, before COVID. And oh my God, it's like a crystal ball reading of what's going to be happening on this planet back then. And so she's got that one. There's 3 of them in the series now, and it talks about all of this type of thing, and it's a warning. It was really a warning by the Lyrans to us about what could potentially happen on our realm here, our planet here, and unfortunately, it is happening. Yes. It is happening. But for those of us that are aware, awake, and working within our energy, we're able to deflect a lot of this.
You know. So you asked me, what is to be expected, and when is it going to happen, and where will it happen? Well, it's in some ways I could say thumbsuck. Oh, it happened in the sort of western sort of side. In the last major reset, and so everybody came towards the eastern, northern sort of territories. So this time is going to happen in the eastern, but that is not how this works. It doesn't go, oh, you had it there, so we'll have it here this time. What it is it's going to probably affect the southern hemisphere. And let me say, if you want the safest place to be on this realm, in this particular dimension, when this event happens, you want to be in places that are along the equator. So for argument's sake, if you're in Africa, you want to move closer to the equator, being in Egypt and that sort of region, and look at it along that sort of realm, okay, and that sort of thing. However, and this is my caveat. I Cifehtr personally believe that if you are connected to the divine creator and you are tuned in, you will know exactly where to go, when to go, and how quickly to go. Give you an example. We spoke to Louise and Heather a year or so before all of the political arenas started playing out, we said you need to go to the bigger island. You need to go back. You need to go back to the warm climate, meaning Australia from New Zealand. And so they were like, why? And we said, because your life is going to change as you know it. You need to move. So they started to look at different things, and they took us at our word. They didn't question, oh, I need this detail and what event. And we had said, you need to move. The changes are coming. Go for it. And they did. A year and a bit later, COVID happened. If they had still been in New Zealand, they probably would have been arrested for what they did today, for how they've lived their life of truth and of integrity and honor. So what do you need to do? You need to trust. You need to trust the divine is going to put you in the right place at the right time. You are going to need to trust that you are in the exact place that you need to be right here, right now. Now, do you need to ensure that you have extra water, extra food, extra this, that, and the next thing? Yes. It is always good to keep at least 6 months supply in your freezer of food groups that you enjoy to eat. It's always good to do that, whether you are in a dramatic situation or not. The reason I say that is because you need to be able to defend for yourself. You need to be able to ensure that you have what you need if the process of getting things from A to B happens to go down, which you've all suffered from in the recent sort of events. The Southern Hemisphere is going to be affected.
Okay.
Now, I make a very broad statement there. The reason is because if you take the Southern Hemisphere, that includes the South America, it includes Southern Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and all sort of minor islands, etc., and small parts of like India, etc. However, when we look at this effect here, one of the last major, and I'm talking annihilation events or resets, we lost Atlantis and we lost Mu. And that is, when I say we lost, they disappeared. They went underwater. They got drowned, right? Then we had another event, and that shifted the earth again, and we had big changes in the west, and what happened there is they shifted in closer to the European countries, etc. Now, here's a question for you. Where did they come from the west? Was it America? Was it Asia? How about that they came outside of the known realm of what you know your continents are? So what I'm saying is that Tartaria still exists, but it exists outside of your visual. Now, you've all been told that it's a load of bollocks that there is an ice wall, and that is the South Pole. You've been told it's a load of bollocks that you're on a flat earth because the world is round. Well, I say that with all the information that I know, the world is neither round nor flat. It is more on an accretion, yes? And there are divisible sections of this place. And at one time you could travel backwards and forwards. I know this. I did it in my pre-Adamic, what you will call my pre-Adamic times of existence. Again, that is referenced in the book. Now, in one of the last major resets, which is probably around about the time of your Genesis, yes? The amount of damage that was done actually sealed you off. What happened is that there was a statement, an agreement that you would be narrowed in, you would be corralled. All right, this particular area. And the reason is because the formless ones had now realized how to create events or resets. They had also learnt by observation how to survive resets by jumping into their minions, by jumping into those who had given themselves over to the dark side for wealth and money and longevity and whatever. And believe me, after a couple of 100,000 years, they all turn around and they go, well, was this the best deal? But there's no going back. There is no going back. Once you've made that, you've made it. So they've learned a lot about resets. They've learned a lot about manipulation. They've learned a lot about how to use different techniques to instigate what they want. So they have been manipulating your weather by bringing in information and giving it to technical people, scientists, military, etc., etc. Now, believe me, it's not, hello, I am a formless one and I have some information for you. Would you like to live forever? Yes, okay, good. Here's your information. It's not done like that. It's very subtle. You're seduced. You're seduced by the idea of importance, of popularity, of being the top dog, of being the one in power. All right? So when you eventually submit to the seduction, what happens is you give over your higher self, you give over your authority, you give over you to another being. And what begins to happen is they begin to use your consciousness to achieve things. Now, what that means is that, yes, you're still present. Yes, you still are there, but you always have a shadow. You always have a voice in your ear. You always have something pricking you if you start to step out of line. And they will bring and download, if you're a scientist, they will download what you need to know in the sciences, whether it's medical or technical. It's all there. Now, this is not to say that every single medic and every single scientist is in that way of being. But the further up the line you go, where you are decision making and you're in the military type and the governmental types, you will find that this is a manipulation going on there. Because they have all of this technology now to manipulate weather and to manipulate land, to manipulate earthquakes, it's very easy for them to create a flood after a flood after a flood, earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. It's very easy for them to do drought year in and year out, so that when the rains do come in that area, the land is so dry it cannot hold the water. It just runs off, erodes, and then damage is done.
Well, we've seen this in Australia frequently, and even more frequently recently, and and it's happening in other parts of the world. This is, it's part of their playbook, and
absolutely.
It's like a few years ago, this might have been hard to believe for those of us that thought, well, okay, we're in the world and everything's under control and stuff like that, and nature wins and da-da-da, but it's just become so much more manipulated and layered over. I'm
trying not to jump too far into all our different points, because
exactly, because we've got a lot of notes here.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for just about 50 minutes. How do you want me to?
Well, I think we could do another 15 minutes if you want to start. What do you reckon, guys? We'll do another 15 minutes and then we'll wind it up. We don't want to make your brains fry too much. I mean, and then we can do another segment on this very topic.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're finished here because we want to talk about the AI involvement in this too.
Yes.
Oops, did I say that? Maybe
I've already said it.
Oh, did you? The next segment.
Yes. So when we realize that we are living within an illusion or a glove within a glove within a glove, we're living in a make-believe world in some ways. We have to realize that to keep ourselves sane, what we need to do is we need to realize that we are not of, I said this with these two many, many times, and I believe they spoke about it today on their live. Is that right? You are not of this world. You just happen to be in it. All right. So what does that mean? To keep your sanity, to realize that you are partaking in a, I'm going to say this, a game that you actually didn't know that you were participating in. You have to realize that you are an ambassador. You're an ambassador that has been sent by your community to the realm of man. Now, to exist in the realm of man, you have to wear their spacesuit. So you are in their spacesuit. Okay? So you've put it on. Now, sometimes what happens is we put on the spacesuit, and after a while we go, oh, I'm a man. I'm a woman. I must follow what they say. And we forget that we are spirit, connected to a soul. And connected to that, we are connected to the divine. And we are connected in such a beautiful way that it keeps us separate from being entangled with the Maya and the pith of this realm. But you have to remember that you are spirit in a body, but spirit is connected to the soul, that the soul activates the spirit, the breath, the life that activates the body. Yes, you need to know that this existence that you're in, this is not who you are. And when we realize that this is our truth, when we're talking about resets, when we're talking about these events that come in to wipe out the individuals that have got these entities in them, it's done deliberately to wipe them out. So wherever there is a major reset, that's probably where they are hiding. And what they think is that, oh, we're going to create for ourselves these underground cities. Like you have those that are left over from Turkey and many other places, but Turkey is the best one because most people know about this. But they've become even smarter, and they're creating cities underneath. They've got mining companies drilling out tunnels and making accommodations in the inner earth. All right. And
it's not just the community like us with the channeled information and things like that are talking about this. There's well-renowned established people that have worked alongside government who are now talking about this. For example, Catherine Austin Fitz.
There you go.
She says, there was $23 trillion went missing. What do you think they did with it? And she's inferred that they've built their underground dams in cities so that they can actually all disappear when the next cataclysmic events arrive. And they're not interested in helping us. All they're interested in is going, look over here, over here, get scared about this and get scared about that. So, there are, some well-known people who are not necessarily channeling talking about this stuff, but this is something we've been aware of for some time. So because of the entities. And so what they are not aware of, and they probably will be aware of now because I'm about to announce it, and they're probably going to put their little
sphincter muscles in the rectum area are probably going to tighten about this, because the divine has got something up his sleeve. And the earthquakes, the tsunamis, the event that is coming is going to be one of the biggest in a long, long time. And it will not save, their dumbs, their deep tunnels are not going to save them. They will be affected. The earthquakes will go through the very center of the earth. The oceans will separate and come back together.
You're talking about in this hard, medium to hard
yes,
reset coming up.
In the one that's coming up. It is what I will call an extinction level. Yes. But, and however, caveat.
Crikey, thank God for caveats.
It will only affect a particular region. So if it is in the southern hemisphere, you will find that the northern hemisphere will probably shift due to the effects of what are going on here. So you might find land that has been lost for a long period of time suddenly gets shifted out, because wherever we have got something happening in one place, it must be balanced in the next. Yes. And so you will find that where land is lost, land will be found. Now, I'm going to throw something out here. Your scientists, and again, I allude to this in my book, but I think it's very important to refer to it here. Your scientists say that when the Earth was being created in the Big Bang, yes, all of the celestial bodies were moving around, and here's the Earth in its molten sort of state and its hard solidified state, and another little moon comes along and it hits the Earth, right? This ball, yes, that's spinning around at X many miles, 1,000 miles, and it must take such great. Sorry, we're going to find the dog here. Wants my attention, yes, but again, don't get me started on the spinning ball scenario. That again is another completely different thing. But anyway,
you mean you don't think we're on a spinning ball? So
their theory is, here's this planet. It goes, it gets absorbed into the Earth, right? So my question then is, are they now confirming we have a world within a world? We have an inner world inside Gaia, inside the Earth.
Well, this is the inner Earth, isn't it? It's been.
So when we have people laugh when they say we have telos, and we have the different places and the different. Excuse me, I'm just going to have to bring somebody up, because she is just she loves me, and she is my adopted Irish wolfhound on this realm. Even though she's an American staff, but she likes to think she is an American wolfhound. An Irish wolfhound in when I'm around. So what I want you to see is there are so many inconsistencies in what is spiritually known and what is scientifically put out that people don't truly consider. What is the truth? What is your truth? What is the truth that you know? So when you look at these things like the resets, I don't want you to get scared. I don't want you to start getting into fear, because there is, and Heather asked me this. She said, but what about those of, what if are we going to die? What's going to happen? And I gave her a scenario that you don't even have to experience it. You can walk through the illusion. And I will get to that in another session with you, but we are now hitting up to an hour. So I think I will stop there, and we will pick it up in a day or two.
I think that's a great idea. So thumbs up for picking up part 2, moving into, we've still got lots of notes here.
Well, we have divine programming and artificial control. We have types of, we've done the types of reset. We've got summary quotes, open questions, reincarnation, role of AI, hidden manipulation.
Got a whole lot of stuff going on there, haven't we?
Yes. Okay. So I will say farewell to this at this moment. I will reconnect with these two in a period of maybe 2 days to reconnect in with you all and to readdress these things. And what I would invite you to do is maybe re-listen to this, put some questions down, make some statements in the comments, and we can address those as we prepare for the next one. Yes. So I'm going to say farewell, and it is always a pleasure. But I'll let Louise come through, and perhaps you can have a bit of a chat with everybody before you sign off. Yes.
This has been great. It's really very timely too. A lot going on. Very timely. Yeah. Look forward to part 2. Absolutely. Hi, Jeanette. How are you? Lovely to see you there. Look forward to that walk. Ah, indeed. The walk through, eh? Absolutely. Absolutely, Linda. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's been fantastic. Okay, well,